Let me paint a picture for you. It's morning. You're sitting in your familiar kitchen, sunlight streaming softly through the window, a warm cup of coffee gently steaming beside you, and a plate of perfectly cooked eggs in front of you. For many people in their 60s or 70s, that's the image of a perfect morning. Simple, peaceful, and seemingly healthy. But I've met so many patients who start their mornings exactly like that. And then one day they ask me, "Doctor, I eat healthy every day. So why do I still feel tired, bloated, or lightheaded?" The answer often surprises them. The problem isn't the eggs. It's what you eat with the eggs. I'm Dr. Robert Miller. After more than 30 years of working with adults over 50, I've learned one simple but powerful truth. It's not just what you eat, it's how you combine your foods that matters. Eggs are an incredible food, rich in protein, vitamin D, and choline, nutrients that help keep your brain sharp, your heart strong, and your bones healthy. But the moment you pair them with the wrong foods, all those benefits can quietly disappear. I remember Mr. Daniels, a 72-year-old man who had eaten fried eggs with cheese slices every morning for years. He believed it was the classic American breakfast, but over time his blood pressure went up, his cholesterol spiked, and sometimes his heart would race for no clear reason. When I looked at his diet, I found the culprit: processed cheese. Those convenient slices were loaded with salt and preservatives that completely canceled out the benefits of the eggs. Once he switched to natural cheese and added fresh herbs instead, his health markers improved within just a few weeks. Another patient of mine, Mrs. Lee, loves starting her day with boiled eggs and a hot cup of black tea. It sounds light and healthy, doesn't it? But she often felt weak, tired, and her skin looked unusually pale. A blood test showed she was severely iron deficient. The reason? The tannins in black tea were locking away the iron from her eggs, preventing her body from absorbing it. All she had to do was wait an hour after breakfast before drinking her tea, and she felt much better. Many people think they lack nutrients, but in reality, their bodies simply can't absorb them properly because of poor food combinations. There are also other traditional pairings that cause trouble without us realizing it. Take eggs and white bread, a breakfast that feels safe but actually causes your blood sugar to spike and crash, leaving you drained by mid-morning. Or eggs with whole milk, a combination that seems rich and nourishing, but in older adults, it slows digestion and leads to bloating and discomfort. I remember Mrs. Garcia, 70 years old, who always drank a glass of fresh orange juice with her breakfast eggs. "I want to get more vitamin C to stay young," she told me. But the strong acidity in the orange juice upset her stomach and reduced her body's ability to absorb vitamins A, D, and E from the eggs, nutrients that are vital for sharp vision and strong bones. After I advised her to drink her orange juice 2 hours after breakfast instead, her acid reflux completely disappeared. I also met Mr. Bradley, who loved sprinkling walnuts over his fried eggs because he'd heard it was good for the heart. But instead of getting healthier, he ended up feeling bloated, struggled with indigestion, and his cholesterol levels went up. Both foods are high in fat, and when combined, they overwhelmed his digestive system. Once he separated them, eggs in the morning, walnuts in the afternoon, his digestion improved and his cholesterol dropped significantly. One morning I met Mrs. Helen, 68, who had a Sunday tradition of cooking eggs with crispy bacon, a meal filled with family memories. "I don't eat much of it, doctor," she laughed, but her heart test told a different story. Bacon is full of nitrates and saturated fats, and when combined with the cholesterol in eggs, it doubles the strain on the arteries. I told her, "You don't need to give it up completely. Just swap the bacon for pan-seared salmon or mashed avocado. It'll still be delicious and comforting, but much healthier for your heart." Then there are the small habits that make a big difference. Many people drink coffee immediately after breakfast. I understand. Coffee is a morning joy for many, but give your eggs a little working time. Before caffeine and tannins in coffee block your body's absorption of iron and calcium. Just waiting 1 hour can completely change how energized you feel. And finally, the message I always emphasize in every consultation: don't just eat right, eat smart. If you eat eggs with pastries, ice cream, or refined sugar in the morning, you're forcing your body to process protein, fat and fast sugar all at once. The result? Fatigue, heaviness, and sometimes that sudden wave of sleepiness right after eating. Try picturing this instead. Instead of pancakes and syrup, have your eggs with a slice of whole grain bread, a bit of greens, and a glass of warm water. Your body will thank you for that light, nourishing choice. Science is very clear on this. After 60, your body absorbs nutrients more slowly, and your metabolism naturally declines. So combining foods correctly becomes more important than ever. A meal isn't just about filling your stomach. It's about nurturing your longevity, your memory, and your daily joy of living. And perhaps what I want you to remember most today is this. Eggs are not the problem. It's how we treat them that determines what happens to our health. If you learn to respect your body, to listen to it, to adjust those small daily habits, you'll receive something wonderful in return. A stronger body, a clearer mind, and truly peaceful mornings. So tomorrow morning when you sit down with your plate of eggs, take a moment, smile, and ask yourself, am I eating to stay healthy or just eating out of habit? Your answer could change the entire course of your health after 60. I want to share something I always tell my patients. After 60, your body becomes like an old friend. It no longer tolerates haste or carelessness the way it used to. You might eat the same foods you did when you were young and feel fine. But now, one wrong combination is enough to leave you tired for the entire day. Over the past 20 years, I've seen it happen again and again. From people who think they're eating healthy to those who simply get the combinations wrong. Let's talk about whole milk and eggs. Many believe it's the perfect breakfast. Protein from eggs, calcium from milk. But in reality, this combination forces the digestive system of older adults to work overtime. I remember Mr. Collins, 72, a strong, active man who always complained, "I feel heavy and sleepy after breakfast." When I asked what he usually ate, he smiled and said, "2 eggs and a glass of whole milk, same as I've done for years." His body simply wasn't producing enough enzymes to digest that much protein and fat at the same time. After switching from whole milk to unsweetened almond milk and separating his meals, he told me, "I feel as light as if I were 10 years younger." Then there's white bread, a food so familiar, soft, and convenient. But for people over 60, it's little more than candy disguised as food. When eaten with eggs, it spikes your blood sugar quickly, and then it crashes just as fast. You may feel alert for the first 30 minutes, but soon after comes the fatigue, lightheadedness, or even shaky hands, signs that your blood sugar is plummeting. One of my patients, Mr. Johnson, once told me, "I don't understand why I feel sleepier after breakfast than before." After switching from white bread to whole grain bread, he immediately felt the difference. No more mid-morning fatigue, and his blood sugar stayed steady throughout the day. One thing few people realize is the issue with citrus fruits. Oranges, grapefruits, lemons. Everyone sees them as symbols of health. And they are, but not if you've just eaten eggs. When you combine the two, the strong acids in citrus interfere with the enzymes that digest the protein in eggs, leaving your stomach feeling heavy as a rock after the meal. I once had a patient named Garcia who drank grapefruit juice with fried eggs every morning. She thought she was doing something healthy, but soon she began experiencing bloating, heartburn, and discomfort after eating. When she simply moved her grapefruit juice to lunchtime, she said, "I never thought such a small change could make me feel so much better." I also can't forget to mention coffee and black tea, two loyal morning companions, but also the silent thieves of your minerals. Caffeine and tannins can reduce your body's absorption of up to 60% of the iron, calcium, and zinc from eggs. If you've ever felt tired despite sleeping well, noticed brittle hair, or weak nails, it might be because you're drinking coffee or tea right after an egg-based breakfast. I remember Mrs. Lee, 75, who ate boiled eggs and drank Earl Grey tea every morning. Her test results showed mild anemia, even though her diet was excellent. We simply moved her cup of tea to mid-morning. 2 months later, she called me, excitedly saying, "Doctor, I can go for my walks now without feeling dizzy." And here's one of the most surprising things I've ever seen. Persimmons, ripe, sweet, soft. Who doesn't love them? But if you eat them right after eggs, you're forcing your stomach to handle a chemical storm. The tannins in persimmons react with the proteins in eggs to form a sticky mass. And in older adults whose digestion is slower, that mass can actually cause a blockage. Mrs. Ingwan, 68, was once hospitalized simply because she had the habit of eating a persimmon right after her egg breakfast. Since then, I always remind people, let persimmons be your afternoon snack, not your morning dessert. But there are also other pears that surprisingly cause trouble, like eggs and raw garlic. It sounds strange because both are considered healthy, but I've met many people who add raw garlic to their eggs, thinking it will double the benefits. In reality, the allicin in raw garlic disrupts the enzymes that digest eggs, causing stomach discomfort and even mild inflammation if eaten too often. If you love the flavor of garlic, cook it lightly. That way, you'll keep its benefits without hurting your stomach. Then there are ice creams, pastries, or desserts made with eggs. I understand the desire to enjoy a little sweetness after a meal. Everyone does. But when refined sugar combines with the fats and cholesterol in eggs, your body becomes overloaded. Blood sugar spikes rapidly, then crashes hard, leaving your energy unstable. Mrs. Miller, 70, who loved making egg ice cream for her grandkids, once told me, I only had a few spoonfuls, yet my stomach felt heavy. After switching to Greek yogurt with strawberries, she still enjoyed a treat she loved, but felt so much better afterward. And finally, I want to talk about patience. Patience with your own body. No one can change all their habits overnight, but if you start with just one small step, for example, waiting an hour after eating before drinking coffee, or swapping white bread for whole grains, you'll begin to notice real change. I still remember Mr. Bradley saying to me, Doctor, I never thought that simply removing walnuts from breakfast would make my stomach feel so much lighter. I smiled and replied, sometimes it's not about eating more. It's about eating less, but eating smarter. When you truly understand your body, you realize that health doesn't come from supplements or complicated diets. It comes from the small, thoughtful choices you make every day. What you eat, when you eat, and what you eat it with. Every bite you take is a message to your body. If you listen carefully, your body will respond with energy, clarity, and longevity. I've seen this in hundreds of my patients. When they learn to respect the natural limits of their bodies, they don't just get healthier, they live more peacefully. And if you're watching this video, you're probably beginning that same journey, the journey of eating right to live longer, live happier, and live healthier. Remember this, eggs are a gift from nature, but that gift only becomes truly valuable when you know how to open it. Let your breakfast be the beginning of a strong, light, and energetic day. Because you deserve a healthy body, not just to live longer, but to live better every single day. I want you to pause for a moment, take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and think about your own body. The body that has carried you through all these years, through sleepless nights, through busy mornings, through every worry about health and aging. And now as you sit here listening to me, perhaps you too are trying to better understand that lifelong companion, your own body. When we're young, we eat just to be full, to make it to work on time, to satisfy a craving. But after 60, eating becomes an act of care. Every bite not only nourishes the body, but also the memory, the heart, and the spirit. I once told a patient, at this age, you don't need to eat more. You just need to eat better. I think back to my early years in medicine, when I was still a young doctor, believing that health came from prescriptions and expensive supplements. But over time, I realized that true health is built from small choices, repeated every single day. From choosing to eat your eggs with vegetables instead of processed cheese. From drinking tea an hour after your meal instead of right away. From learning to respect your body's rhythm instead of forcing it to follow old habits. Once a patient named Helen, 68, asked me, Doctor, I feel like my body doesn't belong to me anymore. I eat the same foods I used to love, but now they make me tired, bloated, and sleepless. I smiled gently and said, it's not that your body has betrayed you, it's that you haven't yet changed the way you love it. After 60, the body becomes like an old friend. It needs gentle conversation, listening, and respect. It can still be strong, flexible, and clear-minded if you know how to care for it. Helen started with one small change. She stopped drinking coffee right after breakfast and began having it mid-morning instead. 2 weeks later, she told me, "I don't feel exhausted at noon anymore, and I sleep more deeply at night." Sometimes one small change like that can open a whole new chapter in your health. I also remember an elderly gentleman named Mr. Bradley, 73, who came to my clinic with tired eyes. He said, "Doctor, I'm careful about what I eat, so why do I still have no energy?" I looked over his diet: eggs, milk, white bread, black tea. Everything sounded familiar, even healthy, but they were canceling each other out. When he made the change, eating eggs with vegetables, drinking warm water, and separating tea from breakfast, he told me, "I never imagined I could feel this light and alert at nearly 75. That convinced me that the human body has an incredible ability to heal, as long as we give it the chance." You know, every week I receive letters from viewers like you. Some tell me they've lowered their blood pressure just by changing how they eat breakfast. Others say that after just 1 month, they sleep better, digest better, and feel happier again. All of them started with something very simple: respecting their meals. If you're listening to me right now, I want you to remember this. There are no absolutely good or bad foods, only the right or wrong way to eat them. Eggs, milk, coffee, walnuts, fruits, they're all beneficial if you understand when and how to combine them. Sometimes simply separating two foods is enough for your body to absorb all the energy it truly needs. I want you to imagine a morning a few months from now. You wake up, step out onto your porch, and take a deep breath. No more heavy stomach, no more fatigue. You make a cup of warm water and prepare a simple breakfast: eggs with fresh greens and whole grain bread. As you eat, you feel every flavor, every breath. Your body responds with lightness, mental clarity, a steady heartbeat, and calm breathing. That is true health, not something that comes from medicine, but from understanding yourself. I know that changing habits isn't easy, especially habits you've lived with for decades. But if you've made it this far in the video, that means you're ready. And I want to tell you this: it's never too late to start taking care of yourself again. You don't need to start with anything big. Just choose the right foods to go with your eggs. Learn to listen to your body and give it a little time to respond. Your body will thank you in its own quiet way, with mornings free of fatigue, deeper sleep, and a renewed joy for life you thought was gone. When I turned 60, I began to truly feel what I used to only understand intellectually. My body had changed: slower, weaker, more sensitive. And I realized that aging itself isn't frightening. What's frightening is when we stop caring for ourselves. So I no longer see eating as an obligation, but as a ritual of gratitude. Gratitude for the body that has carried me this far. I hope you'll do the same. Treat every meal as a way of saying thank you to your heart, your eyes, your legs, and your memory. Because in the end, health is not the result of luck. It's the result of choices repeated every single day. If you found these insights helpful, I invite you to stay connected with me here. Every week, I share real stories and real experiences to help you live healthier, happier, and longer in the most natural way possible. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let me know in the comments. Which of these egg-eating mistakes have you made before? I read every comment, and I want to hear your story, because each of us has our own journey, and through those stories, we can all learn how to love our bodies a little more. Thank you for staying with me until the end of this video. Remember, when health doesn't come from eating more, but from eating smarter, living slower, and being more grateful. I'm Dr. Robert Miller, and I truly believe that whether you're 50, 60, or 80 years old, your body can still be strong if you treat it with kindness every single day. Wishing you a peaceful morning and a long, gentle life filled with energy and love.